Hello, my wonderful Pisces. Pisces. We're up to Pisces. Um, welcome back to Drag Tarot, Vovo Drag Tarot. My name is Joni Vovo. I'm a drag performer based in Sydney, Australia, in Sydney's inner west. And I had a gig tonight. I was over in Enmore at Hopster's Brewery and performed Gaga's Telephone. Just got home, thought I'd do a few tarot readings. Ordered some pizza. So we're doing well. That's good. Okay. We'll get back to your reading. So, that's good pizza. If Pisces is your sun, moon, or rising, this video is for you. This is a general reading, so it's for whoever might be watching on. So take what resonates, and if the story or message doesn't fit, that's okay. It just means it's for another Pisces watching on. Today I'm using the Rider-Waite deck, and I'll be doing a Celtic cross to look at your current situation, challenge you might be facing, and some advice. And in my reading, while I do look at the future and potential outcome, know that you have free will and you are a sovereign being. So make your own choices, use your heart, use your mind, use your intuition, and just use this reading as a chance for you to possibly have a bit more clarity and insight about your situation, okay? Okay. All right, one more shuffle. One more bite of pizza. Maybe I'll start doing mukbang videos as well. All right. You ready? So, your current situation. Oh, the Knight of Wands. Okay. So wands are all about your personal power, your vision, your ability to create and manifest, and your passion. So you can see that all the wands are actually just branches. So it might be, a seed that you planted and then nurtured and it grew into a tree. So it's very much about your ability to create and where you put your passion. So the knights, the knights are very action oriented. So all cards have positive and negative. Knights are very responsive, very reactive, which can be good, very action oriented. They can sometimes, though, be a bit rash and do before thinking. So you might be very much in an energy right now where you're feeling very passionate, very inspired, and you're putting your hand to different things and trying to create, trying to build, being very in the moment, being very intuitive, which can be very awesome. We don't have any context here. I don't know if this is your career, your romantic life, but we'll draw some more cards and just see what emerges. But interesting starting place. So your immediate past, we've got the world upside down. Interesting. So the world are all about chapters. We all have different chapters in our lives. You go to school, you graduate, you start a job, you leave a job, you move into a home, you move out of that home. It's all about those milestones in your life where things, have book tales at the start and the end. So it was upside down, which can mean a few different things. It may mean that you've just come out of the tail end of a chapter closing. I have a feeling, though, it's not that. I have a feeling it's that there's some ending and beginning that you're sitting on or sitting in, and you're perhaps resisting it. Either you don't want it to end, or you don't want to start something new. And if we tie it back to here, it seems like you're a bit frantic about this situation. You're probably rushing around, trying to do whatever you can to stall or stop this ending and beginning. You're probably like, oh, if I just, you know, I don't know, if it's a job, if I just work extra hard, if I do overtime, if I increase my productivity, then the company won't go under, or I won't get fired. Or if it's a relationship, it's if I just be more expressive in my love, if I initiate us having more dates, then the relationship will get better and it won't end. So whatever it is, I think you're trying really, really hard to invest in your current situation and not see or accept that it might be time for something to end and something new to start. How does that resonate? Sorry if that was a bit harsh. I'm just reading the cards. Like I said, take what resonates. If it doesn't resonate, then it's not your reading. But maybe just listen in and see where we go. All right, what's coming up in the future? The Hanged Man. Okay, and it's upside down. This kind of goes with what I was just saying. The Hanged Man is all about when you're put into a situation of almost forced timeout or forced stagnation. So it's very much about being in limbo, in being in a liminal space, in no man's land. And it's often when, you know, usually we're in the flow of life. You've got a routine, you know what your week looks like, you know what you're doing each day, and you kind of just go into autopilot and work your way through life. Every now and then, something happens that breaks that flow and you're no longer in autopilot, and it forces you to see things from a different perspective. You know, you can see here, this guy's hanging upside down, and, you know, it's literally forcing him to look at the world from a different perspective. So it's upside down, which, again, if I tie it back to our first two cards, if you're very much resistant to this cycle coming to a close and a new beginning, then you're probably very much resistant to this perspective shift. If you're trying desperately hard to keep things the way that they are, you're not allowing yourself to have a bigger perspective. Because often when things come to an end, there's a reason. And the new beginning is a chance for us to have new experiences, new lessons, to grow in different ways. It's not always easy. Of course, there's grief and loss when things come to an end. But, you know, que sera, such is life. Sorry, that's a bit matter of fact. But if you're not allowing yourself to go through that process of grief, loss, thankfulness, gratitude, openness to whatever's coming next, then you're going to be stuck. Wow, okay. All right, Pisces, let's see what your current challenge is. Although those three cards sort of defined it, but let's dig a little deeper and see what the cross energy is. So the challenge you might be facing, the area of growth, the problem, another knight. So I've got the Knight of Swords inverted. So like I said, knights are very much about action. They do the work. They don't overthink things very much. But swords are all about knowledge, understanding, but also about communication. I have a feeling in this instance, it's about communication. So the Knight of Swords, again, all cards have positive, negative readings and meanings. The Knight of Swords might speak before they think. That's not always a bad thing. You know, it's just saying your truth, saying the truth about a situation. Sure, it might ruffle some feathers. People might not expect it, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Sometimes the truth needs to be said. And can actually, even if it breaks things, it can break things open for new potential and growth and new opportunities. Sitting in the challenge position and upside down, I would say you're possibly holding your tongue. There's probably a lot you want to say. There's probably this situation that you're trying very desperately hard to duct tape back together and prevent it from falling apart. I think perhaps you're holding back. There's probably something that you want to say or need to say in this situation. And perhaps the risk is that if you say it, if you speak up, if you're honest, if you say your truth, maybe it will fast forward to this closing of a chapter, which is really difficult. If you're quite invested and not ready, that's a really tricky situation. But the challenge here is that there's some truth that you need to go in and say. And very much, you don't need to mince your words. You don't need to overthink it. It's just, there's something that needs to be said into this situation, regardless of what the outcome might be. All right. How are you going? That's that's a bit intense, a bit heavy. Let's look at what you're aware of about the problem or situation. Ready? The sun. What are you holding back for? It seems that Pisces, that's really interesting. Like, it seems that if you speak up, okay. So the sun is all about alignment. You being in alignment with yourself and you being in alignment with the world around you, and there being success and you being in flow. So the situation that's coming to a close, I would dare say perhaps you're not in alignment, that you're not your full self, that you're not having success. So why are you holding on to this so tightly? I don't quite understand that. I might pull a clarifier. But it seems like you know that if you speak up, it's going to pull you into alignment with yourself. Like, there might be some fallout, something might come to a close, something might end, but it's going to lead you back into a place where you're your full, authentic self. So why are you resisting? Okay, I'm going to move to the next card. We'll see if that clears things up a bit. So what you don't know or don't see about the situation. Oh, okay. Wheel of Fortune. Upside down. So the Wheel of Fortune is all about karma, and without going down a rabbit hole about karma, it basically just means lessons. So in life, there's different things we need to learn along the way that give us a bigger understanding of who we are in life and the universe and blah, blah, blah. But it's a wheel because if we don't learn the lesson the first time, we end up repeating the same situations and the same cycles over and over again. You might find that you date the same sort of person over and over again, and the same thing happens. You might go into a workplace and experience the same, the employer or your co-workers might treat you the same way in every workplace you go into. So it's these loops that we get stuck in, that there's something about it that we need to learn about ourselves. Like, what are we doing to create that situation? Or what are we doing to allow that situation? So what you don't see, again, upside down, is there's some lesson to be learned here that's going to break the cycle. And we've had two cyclical cards here. The world is cyclical, chapters starting and ending. And we've had the Wheel of Fortune, lessons starting and ending. So as well as some chapter coming to a close, some lesson, and we've had a few upside down cards, upside down Hangman, upside down the Wheel of Fortune. It seems you're resisting this lesson. And if we go back to what the challenge was, it was inverted, so you're resisting it. The challenge was for you to speak up and speak your mind. So maybe this is the lesson. And this kind of baffled me to start with, but I think because you've been stuck in this loop, you probably haven't spoken up for a very long time. You've probably, whatever the situation is, relationships, career, family, social, whatever, you've probably lived this loop many, 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 many times. And the resistance is, it's probably very daunting and new and scary for you to speak up and speak your truth. Which now makes sense why you're resisting this. This is why you're stuck. Because this is probably terrifying to speak up and speak your truth. But deep down, you know that if you do, it's going to break those loops and lead you back to alignment with yourself and going into bigger, better, more expansive situations that aren't stuck in these tiny little cyclical patterns that you keep living again and again and again and again and again and again. Okay, we got there. So your advice about this situation is you need to spend some time thinking about why haven't you been speaking up? Why is it so terrifying? What's holding you back? Have there been different experiences in your life where you've made an attempt and it's gone really poorly? And from those experiences, what stories are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that your perspective doesn't matter, it's not important? Or if you speak up, the people important to you, maybe historically parents, that if you speak up, it'll go poorly, that you'll lose connection, that you'll be abandoned. So the moon asks us to look at what's going on underneath in our subconscious, behind the scenes. So there's probably a reason that you speaking up is so terrifying. And you can spend some time thinking about what those stories are, and then realizing that those stories may be deeply ingrained, but they're from your past. And you don't have to hold on to them. You don't have to let them define you. And that you can have experiences that prove those old stories wrong. Whatever this current situation is, speak up. Yeah, there might be some fallout, but it might be very freeing. It might lead you to being in a situation where you're much more in alignment with yourself, being true to yourself, and not just going through all the old motions and all the old patterns. It's time for something new. Time to break out. Time to take the risk. Time to erase those old stories. Okay. External factors. 3 of Wands. So, like I said, you're very much, it looks like you're very much wanting to. You're wanting to move on. You're wanting to go in a new direction, try something new. That's where your will is. But you're kind of here in this holding space. You're waiting for the opportunity. You're waiting for the right moment. You're waiting to have the courage. You're waiting to have the nerve to do it. it very much goes back to here. This stuck energy. You've made the decision. And you're ready to go. You're just waiting to have the courage and the nerve to speak up and do it. Do it. I'm not here to give advice. I'm just reading the cards. Make your own decisions. But just do it. Just speak up. Okay. Hopes and fears. Yes. Yes. That's brilliant. Okay, so we had the Knight of Swords. Like I said, knights can be a bit reckless. They can act before they think. The Queen is very much in tune with her inner world, very much in tune with her emotions, in tune with her thoughts. She can speak with great clarity and depth, and not just in a matter-of-fact, cold, dry way, but in a way that is very... let's just say she's got a high amount of emotional... Oh, wait. I'm sorry, I completely misread it. It's the King of Swords. Still stands true. Started with the Knight, moving up to a King. Being very calm, cool, collected, not easily rattled, not easily triggered, is able to succinctly and clearly say their thoughts and opinions. The Knight, however, might be a bit all over the place, be a bit messy, be a bit emotional. That's fine. That's your starting place. You're flexing your new muscle. It's not going to be perfect. You might make mistakes, but your hopes and fears are that you're going to get to this place where you can just have clear communication and not be rattled and not be thrown out by whatever the situation is. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, final outcome. You ready? Okay, interesting. So we started with the world upside down, which was about chapters closing and new chapters starting. And it seems here, to finish this chapter, there's a lesson to be learned. We had two knights here. We had one knight that was rushing in, trying to fix everything. And we had one knight that was rushing in, being honest and upfront about their opinion about the situation. And we saw that you're ready to move on. You're ready to do things differently. And you're wanting to move to this position where you can speak your truth and you can very much shape the world around you and the way that you navigate through that world. So once you learn that lesson, flex that muscle, learn that skill, then whatever comes your way in the future, you're able to have the discernment and the power and the autonomy to choose and decide where you invest, what you put your energy to. The Four of Cups is very much about when an opportunity comes your way, that you are able to discern and choose whether you accept it or not, or accept it into your life or not. And, you know, back here we were talking about repeated cycles, doing the same thing again and again and again and again and again. But I think the outcome is that once you have the ability to speak up for yourself and shape the world around you, when we get to these new chapters that present themselves, you're going to be able to have a position where you can have, how do I frame it? Have the ability to make the decisions about which chapter comes next and what direction you go in and what you invest into. Does that make sense? I mean, in all of this, you were trying to find that place of self-alignment and alignment with the world around you. So I think if you can do that inner work and figure out what your blocks are and then be able to speak up for yourself, you have all the autonomy and mastery in the world to choose which chapter you go into next, rather than desperately trying to repair one that's coming to a close. All right, we got there. How was that? Okay, let's have a quick look at the bottom of the deck, just to lift the veil and look behind the scenes. Oh, okay, well, so we've got the Seven of Cups, which is very much about having lots of choices, but there needing to be a lot of discernment about which one is the right choice, and definitely sorting about illusion from reality. So, you know, cat, that's my pizza. So, you know, once you have that ability to speak up for yourself, it's definitely going to help you navigate these situations where there's a lot of choice and perhaps a need to find clarity and sort through illusion. We've got Two of Swords. You know, if you can speak into situations, it's definitely going to help you to be able to make decisions on how to move forward. Yeah. Oh, good. No, I won't go too far, but we've also got Three of Cups. So, you know, even though there's chapters ending and new chapters starting, I suppose being able to know yourself better and speak up for yourself is only going to lead you back to having better communion with other people, better interactions, you know, more depth, more fun. All right, how's that? Well, if you liked that video, if it applied to your situation, I'd love to hear your feedback and comments. Otherwise, hit like, hit subscribe, and otherwise, I'll see you next month. Bye.